Hello and welcome back to Project Ozone Reloaded Titan Mode. This is episode 28 and today I want to talk about fluid handling because I am going to be setting up this whole level of the base with basically creating and refining fluids. In this particular mod pack we've got a lot of fluids that we need to work with. I've already worked some with oil to produce plastic and breaking it down into its various constituents along the way, and I just burned the constituents for fuel, and that's fine. But I also want to have some more sophisticated processing. I'll definitely need it for the more advanced ore processing for mechanism. I will want to do something a little better with my oil overall. I will want to go ahead and use it for fuel extensively, I think. And I'm going to get some of that set up today. But I want to start by taking a look at what is actually offered in this mod pack. To begin with, we're using applied energistics for all of the item handling, and it actually does have extra cells which adds fluid and gas handling capability to the applied energistics mechanism. And if you go through the quest book, it's got quests for setting up all of that stuff. So we've got lots of storage for gases, which really means mechanism gases, storage for fluids, as well as storage for items. And a number of these quests have to do with, this is for the fluid interface, that one's already been completed. I haven't done the fluid assembler yet, but this allows you to assemble crafting recipes that involve fluids in some way. And there are various sorts of, for example, for the export bus, which is the standard applied energistics one, it has equivalents for exporting fluids and gases, and so on. So, truth is, I don't plan on using it. Now, I might use it in some small ways, and if there's a particular quest that requires that I use it in some way, like maybe I don't think there is one, but hypothetically, you could have something in the achievement book that says use bedrockium drums and fluid storage interfaces to store fluids. There's an equivalent one for using DSUs for items, but I don't think there's one that says that for fluids. If there is, then I'll set up a demonstration system to do it. But for the most part, I don't plan on using it. And the reason is because if you actually look at some of these fluid cells, they have a certain amount of memory, but unlike regular item cells, which store they store up to 63 different types of items, the fluid and the gas ones only store 5 different types of fluids or gases. And that makes it a little bit more challenging to manage all of your fluids. And even though they have the same memory capacity as the ones for items, you can still store vastly more fluids if you package the fluids up in items. And that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be packaging up all of my fluids probably into resonant portable tanks and storing them as items. If you don't have resonant portable tanks and you want to use this sort of approach, then you could use some other storage medium. I mean, you could use buckets or florbs or something like that. I'm using resonant portable tanks. They hold 512 buckets of fluid each. They can be filled in a fluid transposer. It's not a problem. And you can use them to store your fluids as items. And when you do that, you gain some things and you lose some things. The main thing that you gain is the ability to store enormously more fluid and the ability to store more different types of fluids without having to take up so many slots in your ME drives in order to do so. The main thing you lose is things become more complicated for processing, although it's pretty straightforward how to deal with it. They also become a little more power intensive to work with. That is also a problem, especially for the gases where you have to convert them into a liquid before you can put them into a tank. And then you have to go and do that process in reverse. You do gain some other stuff though. If we look at the fluid interface over here, you can insert fluids into it just fine. Any fluid you want to bring into it, you can insert into it. But it can only export up to 6 different fluids. And so if you don't have, that's kind of interesting. I didn't realize I had some oil in it. If you don't, if you want to export more than really 5 fluids, because this is one phase is going to be occupied by the connection to the system, then you're going to have multiple fluid interfaces to do it. Each one of them takes a channel. So you could actually use quite a few channels on your AE system, getting fluids circulated around a floor like this. I mean, I could definitely see using several dozen channels down here before it was all said and done if you densely packed this with fluid processing machinery. You don't need to do that. I'm going to show you how you can do the whole floor using really just one channel. Now I've got some terminals down here, and if you use some terminals, obviously each one of them takes channels as well. I'm not considering those to be fluid processing in this particular context, though certainly if you have the fluid one, I guess you would think of it that way because you could get fluid in and out of it. Okay, so how am I going to handle the fluids? Well, I showed you in the last episode where I had set up the cow milking area and converted it over to use this system. So what's happening here is I've still got the same setup with the rancher that's going. Each rancher is doing 3 cows. Incidentally, there are ways of using fewer ranchers to milk a whole lot more cows. I believe nicolbw on her previous Project Ozone series for the original Project Ozone used a system where it looped cows around on conveyor belts and they all sort of looped past a rancher. I don't know if that idea was original with her or if she got it from somewhere else. It's an interesting idea. It certainly allows you to get by with fewer ranchers and maybe less space for a lot more cows. I'm not doing it that way. I'm a little concerned about lag, and I'm a little concerned that I might lose cows to getting hung up on fences or something like that, and so I'm just not going to do it that way. I'll just use more ranchers. Having said that, the rancher is milking the cows, so we're getting liquid lithium from this one. And it's going in and it's just being routed into fluid transposers. The fluid transposers each have a resonant portable tank in them that is being filled. This one has 412 buckets of brine in it right now. And there are extra resonant portable tanks sort of sitting around. And this is actually kind of a bad setup because each one of these has 64 resonant portable tanks sitting in it waiting, just sort of waiting for its opportunity to be filled, and it's going to take forever to fill 64 of them, so this isn't really an ideal arrangement. This is what you get when you hook it up directly to the ME system and you try filling it through that system with Ender IO. You just end up stuffing them with as many tanks as they will fit until you backlog the system, which is what's going on here. You'll notice that this has a crafting upgrade in the ME interface, and it says that to keep 10 resonant portable tanks stocked, even if you have to craft them to do that. So I've just got a crafting recipe in the system that creates resonant portable tanks, and they're coming here and they're being distributed around as needed until all of these machines are full. When the resonant portable tank gets full, it moves down into this slot automatically. That's just a function of the fluid transposer, and it's ejected out of the machine and comes back over here into the interface where it goes straight back into the Applied Energistics storage system, where I now have quite a few resonant portable tanks. Now some of these were manually filled. This one that's partially full of liquid plastic, for example, or this one, well, that one's empty, but this one that's got 3 buckets of etching acid in it. But a lot of these are now being automatically filled. These that are diesel, for example, were filled specifically from a cow. So I've got 1,024 buckets of diesel stored in these 2 tanks. I've got gelid cryothium here, heavy water. So all these tanks are just sort of gradually coming in as these cows produce the fluids. Okay, so that is how fluids get into the system. Let's look at how they get out, and I will actually do a build that's sort of the reverse of this. So once you've seen one of them, you've really sort of seen the other one. You just have to imagine it going backwards. So I have built another diesel generator over here. And what I want to do is I want to get this diesel generator set up on that system, and then I'm going to take and move these cows downstairs because I want to hook up both of them really on the system. I don't want to be milking the cows here. I want to go ahead and milk them and store the fluid in the AE system. That will allow me to accumulate a surplus of gasoline if I'm producing enough, and I should be, because I think that these two diesel generators combined, if they're both running full time, will use just over the fluid from 2 cows, and I will have 3 gasoline cows going at that point. So what I want to do is I want to just set up a fluid transposer over here, and I'll just stick it right there. And I've already run a pipe over here. I'm actually using logistics pipes on this floor now. It's a completely independent logistics pipe system from any other system. It's just for this floor. It's connected up to an ME interface. It's got its logistics power junction here, and in the ME interface we've basically got an item sync and a provider module, which is just sort of the standard to hook it up to an AE system. So next I'm going to need to go ahead and tell it what it's going to be doing, and I need an active supplier module, which I don't have on hand here. Right there. Now, if we tell it right here to actively supply, and we'll just do partial, 1 resonant portable tank with gasoline in it, right here. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put a basic logistics pipe here. Now the blue is the input, so it'll bring that tank in here and it will immediately come over here. I want to change this to empty mode instead of fill mode. So this is going to try to empty that tank, and it's going to sit here, it's going to empty as much as it can. It's going to take a long time to empty the tank, but while it's emptying it, it will continuously have this full, and it will be able to supply fluid out of the fluid transposer. Now I'm going to need to hook this up to the logistics pipe system. This is the output, by the way. When the tank is empty, it will just get ejected out the side. That is not the correct item, although I will need one of those. So I need to connect these up, and then I can just string this pipe up. And I've already got a stub up here at the top, so you don't have to see me run pipes all over the place. Alright, so this should go ahead and request that tank pretty quickly and put it in there, and it has. And it would be emptying the tank, except that it doesn't have any power. So let me go ahead and hook up power to this device. And I believe, yeah, there's a spot right there, which is going to be a little awkward to get to maybe. Let's just do it right up here. Now this will also be needed for output of the power from the generator, so that's okay that we're stringing lots of conduit around. It's not going to waste or anything. Okay. So we should have power here, and this tank is full. It's already supplying the next one in line, but it won't do anything until this one is empty, and we're nowhere close to empty on it. So the next step here is going to be to use some fluid conduits. And I will just use this type right here to connect right there. Now I am going to have an output on here that's on the back. So is that the right way to do it? Yes, because we got a yellow outline there, so we want yellow there. So this should be sending, and it is, we can see that the conduit changed color. So it's sending fuel here, and really this generator should be running just as soon as I connect up the power. And it is. So that's really all you have to do, is you supply tanks to a fluid transposer and send the fluid somewhere. So the next logical step then, let me pull this tesseract. Now this is the tesseract that's supplying energy to the mining laser. So I do want to keep this one hooked up. I'm just going to put it up here. But I don't need the rancher here anymore. So what I'm going to do, I guess I'll leave the rancher for the moment and I'll just remove it later. But I'm going to come over here and run this fluid conduit all the way over here. And connect it up, disconnecting it to all these other locations, which I don't think it actually would send fluid to anyway. So we'll connect there and connect there. Now the fluid transposer is providing gasoline to both of these engines, and I don't really need these cows at all anymore. So I left space for them up top. Just grab them with my, actually it's down below, isn't it? Just grab them with my magic lasso and take them down here, where I've already set up a rancher that is in position to keep them emptied. Put them down here, and I should have plenty of gasoline to run both of those diesel engines full time. You would think that you would use diesel to run a diesel engine, but actually there's just not much reason to do it that way. The gasoline provides 3 times as much energy. Okay, so I can dismantle all this stuff. And tear all that down. Let's see. There we go. And we're good to go on that. So this is just the reverse of the other process. Rather than taking the tanks and filling them and sending them off in towards the AE system, this one takes and empties them and sends the empties back. So that is really all that's involved in that. And it does get a little more complicated. If I go back down to the fluid level, where I'm setting all of this stuff up, this is a mechanism system that is really the first part of the process for producing that HDPE plastic that's going to be needed for the big reactors. And what's going on here is I'm supplying water from a reservoir. Water I probably won't do this way. You can just supply it from a reservoir anywhere you like. But I'm supplying it from the reservoir, and it is going into an electrolytic separator and being separated into hydrogen and oxygen. These are gases, not liquids, so they need to go in through this rotary condensator to be converted into the liquid form. That then goes into the fluid transposer, which is taking and packaging up the liquid oxygen. And it looks like I'm not providing tanks to these things, so when it's finally full, I'm probably going to have a little bit of an issue here. So yeah, like this one's already filled. So I'll have to look at that and see what's going on with it. It should be providing empty tanks, but it's not for some reason. Yeah, I know why it's not. These interfaces don't really do this interface like this very well with logistics pipes, so I will have to come up with another solution for that. Possibly I can just pull those tanks out into another inventory that's connected up to logistics pipes to take care of it. But in any case, once these are supplied with tanks, this will provide tanks of oxygen and hydrogen, and I can pull those to some machine that uses oxygen and hydrogen. For example, both oxygen and hydrogen are used in making that plastic. Later on, they're used extensively in metals processing if you go the whole 5 times multiplication of your ores using mechanism. Okay, so with that out of the way, that's how I'm going to be doing the fluids. Let's take a look and see if there are maybe just a couple of quests that I can do something with that will lead to something good. And I don't see my quest book. There it is. I just tossed it in the ME system somehow. So before I was working on Solar Flux, Quantum Flux, and Mind Factory Reloaded, trying to get down into this quantum flux stuff a little deeper. Let's look at this item fabricator. It wants iron casings, dark stone, amplification crystal. Iron casings look pretty straightforward. Let's make that one. What was that thing called again? Item fabricator. This has a very small number of recipes, if I remember correctly, and they're all related to this particular mod. Wonder why that didn't... There we go. I was just pushing the wrong button. So we have that one set up in the system now, and I think Darkstone is already set up. Yes, so we'll put that in there and pull one of those out. And I'll just toss these in here. I don't know how many times I'm going to make an item fabricator. Probably not very many, maybe just once, but I'll just go ahead and put it in the system just in case. And we'll claim our reward. And I got a quantum entropy accelerator. Converts matter to a little bit of energy. Can provide 4 RF per tick. This is a trash can that generates energy, but 4 RF per tick is definitely quite useless at this point unless it's been souped up well beyond what it says. Okay, so next one down the list, I guess, might as well just keep going in this direction, is this advanced circuit. This one is actually made in that item fabricator. So maybe I should hook that thing up. I've never used this block before. I can probably just set it up right there for now. Got to make sure that since I covered a light that I don't have any issues here with darkness. Okay, so to make the advanced circuit I need a blank circuit and mystic quartz. That does have enough power now. The mystic quartz is a titanium ingot and nether quartz in an item fabricator. Got lots of titanium ingots. And I got lots of nether quartz. I'm not exactly sure where that nether quartz is coming from, but it keeps getting more of it. I'm not sifting any soul sand anywhere. Oh, it's coming from yeah, it's coming from the the drill, the laser drill. Okay, and the other component of this was, if I can get back over here, a blank circuit, which is silica and paper. I don't know what silica is. Silica also comes from here. It's sand and a block of quartz. So put that in there. I needed paper. Got lots of that. That's coming from loot bags. That's probably where a lot of the quartz is coming from too. Okay, so I think this is the second to last combine, maybe? Yeah, so I can then put these two together. This quantum flux mod is one that I have not used very much. I did play around with the power storage in the previous version of Project Ozone, but that was kind of about it. We finished it though, so we get the reward. Jeweled apple. And next on the list is, we opened something up. We opened up the eviscerator, which is, it says dig all kinds of things, except this thing is kind of slow. I don't know how slow it really is. I've never used it. There is something about it though that I want to try out. One of the mobs that I'm going to have to defeat is, let's see, where is it here? Oh, it's in Theta. This one right here. Gotta kill the slider. Now the slider is kind of an interesting mob in a way. My wonderful sword here with plus 999 attack damage is useless against the slider because it only takes damage from a pickaxe. And I'm wondering if this eviscerator functions as a pickaxe because it's got plus 26 attack damage on it, which is really good. It's also got a mining level, so maybe it works as a pickaxe. If it doesn't, then I'll probably use a Zavicio pick, which I think has 14 attack damage on it, and that's pretty good too. I'm mostly waiting to make a little more progress with armor before I go in there because I know the strategy for killing the thing. I'm just not very good at moving around and avoiding it like I'm supposed to. So this involves some battlesuit plates, a diamond, and a nether star. And the other pieces of it involve more battlesuit plates, diamonds, and gold nuggets. So battlesuit plates I configured them in the system. They're, I think, just a little expensive because nether stars are involved. I don't know how many nether stars. I've still got 71, so I'm in good shape on that. I think I can probably do this one. So it was eviscerator. I have to type it in here to look it up. Alright, so let's go to this component, put that there. I have some plates. I think I'm going to need maybe 10 or so of them. I'll end up using the rest for armor if I have any left over, so just come over here, make one of these. And then I need this one, and I'll make 2 of those. And I was wrong about the possibility that 10 might be enough. We'll make another 10. Okay, so we have all the components needed for this thing now. And there we have it. So it should be accumulating a charge. It doesn't seem to be. Probably have to charge it. Oh, I've got the wireless down. Let me put that back. Okay. Now it's accumulating a charge. So how much charge does it hold? I think this thing damages you if you let it run out of charge. At the moment, I don't have any sort of thing like a draconic flux capacitor to do it. I guess I could use one of the thermal expansion ones. That might work to keep it charged. But I think I'm just going to toss it away for the moment. Let's get our quest credit. Better furnaces, and I've already got the only one of those furnaces that I'm probably going to set up going. I might eventually do another one. So this moves on to the power armor, and I think I want to go ahead and make this power armor in this episode so that I'll have it next episode. Let's take a look at this. It's just the Zavicio with the battle suit stuff, and the nice thing is I don't think this one actually takes damage. It loses charge instead, and so I can actually go ahead and wear it at that point. So let's make a bunch of battlesuit plates. I'll need, I guess, 24 of them if it follows the standard pattern. I've got 6, so I need 18 more. And I don't have enough blocks of mana diamond, but that is easily rectified. And just get a quarter stack of diamond and run upstairs and make mana diamonds. This thing must have run out of cobble because it doesn't appear to have been one way to deal with being a little short on mana is just to toss some of these blacker lotuses in. Each one of them is worth about 1/10 of a mana pool, I think. Something like that. Okay, that's not going to work. Let's see if I've got enough mana total. There we go. Alright, back downstairs and further downstairs. So I was making 18 battlesuit plates. And I'm still short on mana diamonds. Okay. I only needed 3, I think, but I'm going to make twice as many just in case. Okay. I could probably make this up there, but such a habit to be down here making the thing. So I need 18 of them. There we go. And I guess I will, so these start with the VCO armor, and we're going to do that with it. And I guess I'll just keep one of these in my inventory. So pants next, and then gotta have a helm, and then last of all, gotta have the boots. And it looks like the boots go down there. No, they don't. Interesting. Are the boots different? They go on the top. I don't see how that's any different than what I had before. I must have just missed something. I don't know. Alright, well, let's get the quest credit for that. I'll just claim the reward here. And the reward bag is a grater. It has a diamond wand, which is actually not useful at this point. But I have new armor. So, and it's very interesting looking. Okay, well, I think that's going to do it for this episode. I don't want to run really long like I've done in several episodes recently. So I do want to go ahead and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the episode or found it useful, please feel free to like, subscribe, comment, or share, and I will see you next episode.